Hello and welcome to the MyVA Dayton Podcast, coming to you from Dayton, Ohio. This is the show where we talk with veterans in the Western Ohio region to share their stories and share what's happening at the Dayton VA Medical Center. I'm Scott Leese, your host, with co-host Greg Tucker. And we have with us today a Vietnam-era U.S. Army veteran, Hollis Melson. He served as a telecommunications specialist during his service to our nation. Some of the places included various Army bases in the U.S. where he received his advanced telecommunications training before being deployed to Germany. Hollis had many opportunities to travel serving his country. Upon fulfilling his obligation to Uncle Sam, he turned another chapter in his life. This chapter focused on pursuing his passion of being part of the music scene of the era. Prior to being drafted after high school, he had been part of the band called the Majestics, who later became the gold record, world-renowned funk group known as Sun. This afforded him more travels, a chance to perform his passion of playing bass guitar, and influencing other musicians to come. Welcome to the show, Hollis.
Glad to be here.
And we are so thrilled to have you here with us today. Before we get to know a little bit more about you, we're going to put you to the test.
Okay.
That's right. It's time to play Don't Tell Me I Think I Know That. This is the game where we put our guests to the test of their knowledge of military trivia, a game where listeners can play along to see if their minds are mired in mounds of military minutia as ours are. Are you ready to take that challenge, Hollis?
Ready to take that challenge.
All right, super. Well, here we go. Here's your first question. Do you have to be a U.S. citizen to join the Army? Would it be A, no, or B, yes?
No.
That's right. That is the correct answer. No, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen. You can join the Army if you're a resident alien also. So good to know for those folks out there who are not a U.S. citizen, have an interest in becoming a member of the military service. Mm-hmm. Head down to your recruiting station now. Okay, here's your second question. What renowned musical group, Pershing's Own, is the official band of what branch of the U.S. Armed Forces? Would it be A, Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders, B, the Army, C, the GWs, or D, the Drum and Bugle Corps?
The Army.
That's right. Absolutely. The United States Army Band was established on January 25th, 1922 by General of the Army's John J. Pershing, Army Chief of Staff, in emulation of European military bands he heard during World War I. In its early years, the band was featured on RCA, CBS, and the Mutual Broadcasting Network and other networks. The band also completed 4 national tours between 1928 and 1931 and was noted for its professionalism during a trip to Spain for the Ibero-American Exposition of 1929. Now, here's your third and final question. You're batting 1,000 right now. Let's see if you go all the way.
Let's do it.
What light utility vehicle replaced the Army Jeep? Would it be A, the Stryker, B, the Water Buffalo, C, the Humvee, or D, the Cadillac Coupe de Ville?
The C, the Humvee.
That's correct. Yes, the Humvee replaced the Jeep and can be configured as a troop carrier, armament carrier, shelter carrier, ambulance, tow missile carrier, or scout vehicle. Greg, so tell us what Hollis has won for playing our game today.
For answering all those questions correctly, we have a set of 4 Dayton VA industrial strength chip clips designed by NASA's aerospace engineers to keep your chips crisp on your next stellar space journey or wherever you may be traveling in the near future. All compliments of the Dayton VA.
Okay, Hollis, we're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we're going to hear more from you about your music career and other adventures in your military service.
Okay.
Hope. Where are you hiding? I search for you in the seconds, the minutes of each and every day. Hear me as I call out to you. Take my hand. Lift me up as I lift up others. Welcome me home, father, mother, sister, brother, son, daughter. Hear us now. Alone we stood, divided we fell. No longer. Now we choose to make the connection. Our new mission lies within. Visit maketheconnection.net to learn more.
And we're back with U.S. Army Veteran Hollis Melson. So in high school, you started playing with the band The Majestics. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Well, I started out playing gospel.
In church? In church?
Yes. I have no idea how I got with the Majestics. All I know, I was there one day. I don't know who put the rumor out that I knew how to play the guitar or anything like that.
So did some other guys come in and say, hey, we got this band we're putting together. Come play?
I'm guessing, because we was all in the same school, the first practice that I went to, I don't really know how that came about. I ended up there. It might have been the guitar player might have known me, because I had some dealings with him.
Yeah.
And he was the only one that I knew in the band at the time. And so I'm guessing that's what happened. They needed a bass player, and somebody said, well, Hollis play bass, we'll get him.
Sure. Anybody who knows you, knows your history, knows that you love creating music. And now that Dayton is known as being the funk capital, I mean, you were around when all that was happening.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your experience about living here at that time when funk was becoming the thing.
Well, of course, we didn't know that it was becoming the thing. We were just playing. I think that the thing about us was that we was playing it differently than people before. Of course, initially it had been like rhythm and blues mostly. And then you got people came along just playing what I call rock. It was different, and so because a lot of the bands that came after us, like Slave, Lakeside, all of those bands, they're not rhythm and blues bands.
Sure.
Which we was not rhythm and blues band. We was initially, but somebody told us.
But you're creating your own sound.
Yeah, we was creating our own sound, and that's I learned that from them because I was trying to be like James Brown and.
Yeah. Oh.
But they wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
They said, Hollis, you got to do it your way. Well, and I wouldn't even listen to a song that you like. We're gonna play some song, and they want to listen to it and learn how to play it. No.
Right.
Well, so when you learn music, you learn and you play you.
Right. Well, that's how art's created. Is expressing yourself, and you're doing it through your instruments. So, you were here during the create of the funk craze. Mm-hmm. But have you always been here? Have you always lived here?
No. I came to Dayton to visit the year 1962. I just come here to visit. But I can see that I had more plans of staying because I didn't ask my mother, could I come? I didn't ask my father, could I go? I told my father, I said, I'm going to Dayton. I said, you can whoop me, beat me, do anything you want to do.
Where are you coming from?
Carrollton, Georgia. Okay. Near Noonan, Georgia, where Robert Ward and all these other people are from.
Oh, Robert Ward.
Robert Ward. I think Little Richard. I think Otis Redding. I think all of them are from that area.
Yeah. So you're coming up here to be part of the scene?
Well, no, I just came up here to visit my mom. I had a guitar, but I wasn't playing at the time. When I came to Dayton and they let me stay, and I was begging my stepdad for a guitar because I didn't have no money to buy no guitar, and I continuously buying him. So my mother finally talked him into buying me the guitar, and he bought it, and he played it more than I did. And so, and I just kind of fell into that because I'm from a music family.
Mm-hmm.
My mother sang. My cousin is the lead singer for Lakeside. My other two cousins are with Slave. And the guy Bohannon is my cousin. And I think Roy Miller is my cousin.
Wow.
And so, I have a cousin in Atlanta, Georgia named Roy Lee Johnson, who was like the blues king. And he wrote a song, at least one or two songs for the Beatles. I don't know the song.
So it's really, if you didn't have talent, somebody would be questioning, why don't you have talent with all that other talent in your family? It's obvious in the
some
genetics.
people have it and some people don't.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of, like, I got some nephews and nieces. Oh, man, you think if I can play, you should hear them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So one of the things, if I can follow up, once you had transplanted here to Dayton, you started playing in school. That's where you came in contact as far as with members of the Majestics, right?
Yeah, I joined the choir at Roosevelt to, kind of give me some music experience.
Okay. Now, there was one of the music teachers here that a lot of famous or renowned artists from this era that they...
Mr. Spencer.
Mr. Spencer, right.
Mr. Spencer had all of us for Lakeside. He had all of us.
Right.
Went through him.
Right. Now, with that, who taught you how, or who was your influence on playing your instrument, your particular instrument?
I liked Motown.
Okay, so that influenced you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I liked it because we had a singing group. We did Temptations. We did a lot of Temptations. We had initially did James Brown. Then we got the singing group, because, you usually play whatever singer sing. So they were singing the Temptations, and I love the Temptations, because they got those, they got bass intros.
Oh, the Funk Brothers.
Yeah, they got those bass intros, or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Some intro, And
so is that what made you decide to play the bass?
No, we all had guitars. I had a guitar. Marcy with the Ohio players had a guitar. Booster Collins, he had a guitar. But it was so many guitar players, nobody didn't need no guitar players no more. So they said, we need a bass player. We got to have a bass player. And so we had to all switch to bass. And the guy had told me, he said, man, we need a bass player. I had a lead guitar. He said, man, we need a bass player. I said, man, I don't know how to play bass. He said, man, I can show you how to do it. I said, what? I said, man, if you can do that, let's go.
Nice.
The guy said, well, I can do it. The guy took me over there and showed me about 2 or 3 songs initially, and I've been playing ever since. Just like that.
Great.
And I didn't know C minor from C major at the time. And I didn't go, I went to St. Clair later and learned, about music. But initially, I didn't know C minor from C major, and I traveled all over the world.
Yeah, well, it's done you well. So tell us about your experience with playing with Sun.
Well, Sun, that was a unique experience. I got to do some things that I would have never imagined, like playing at the Apollo on the show with James Brown, of course, But we was at the Apollo with James Brown in 1978, because, he was kind of in the middle of the beginning and the end of all of the great things that he had done, So at the time we was at the Apollo, it wasn't that big. But some of the unique shows, I think one of the best shows that we ever did was in Oakland, California, when we first went to California, at the Oakland Coliseum with Booster Collins, George Clinton, Parliament, and Funkadelics, and all of them James Brown guys was there that night, because James Brown was working at the time. You had Maceo, St. Clair, all those guys, the baddest guys in the business. All of them at the same night, And I guess I never thought about all these great guys that I'm up against, because in my head, not wanting to go, you know.
So were you starstruck by them, or were they just like part of the gang to you? Or
That particular night was kind of like part of the game because I'd never seen nothing like that before, and I never seen nothing like that after. As far as the love and everybody not trying to, we just having fun, playing and just having fun. Nobody trying to outdo the other, and nobody concerned about who the best and all of this and that like people normally do, you know. And it was just one of the greatest, and that was my first trip to California, one of the greatest experiences of all times. I said, man, I sure wish I had the video that night of that show that night.
Now, part of your history also, you recorded at King Records, right?
Recorded at King Records, Chess Records, and Capitol Records.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I know in your conversation you were saying, you also are confused a lot of times with playing with the
Ohio Players.
Tell us about that right there.
Well, three. In my original group, the Majestics, it was 6 members. Well, 3 of them went to the Ohio Players. You know, the drummer, the leader of the Ohio Players, now Diamond, started playing with the Majestics. And Clarence, the guitar player with the Ohio Players, started playing with the Majestics. And the trumpet player, who's no longer there, he started playing with the Majestics. And so, I had played with all those guys years before they went to the Ohio Players. And then they had some advertising out one time that they used our picture, the open night low, because they was the one that was in the Ohio Players, and that's why people was thinking I was in the Ohio Players, because they had these pictures of me with them, you know. And I had told them one time, I said, I'm gonna have to sue y'all. People going on here thinking I'm in the Ohio Players and think I got money and they want to rob me and kill me, and here I am broke.
Well, hey, in the business they say no publicity or any publicity is not bad publicity, right?
Yeah.
So good for publicity, good publicity for you anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, if you could, a little bit about your military career. Where were some of the bases you were stationed?
Okay. I started we got processed in at Fort Campbell, and we went to Fort Knox. I went in the military on December 7th, 1965. I didn't know about that at the time. And went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. So we was only there for about a week before Christmas came. We came home for Christmas. And I had some knots upside my head and from getting in fights.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had a busted lip and everything when I came home from the military.
Now, did you join right after high school, or?
Now, what happened when I got my military papers, my military paper wasn't filled out completely. They didn't have no reporting date or reporting place or nothing on my military papers. And so when I first got them, I didn't really pay no attention or whatever. And I had got them in the summer of 65. So now we had Thanksgiving of 65. We had went to Toledo to a family. And I was telling my stepdad about these papers that I have. And so my stepdad got the papers and looked at it. He said, boy, these are draft papers.
Oops.
Yeah. He said, you need to go down there Monday morning and take care of this. I said, okay. Monday morning came. I went down there Monday morning. They filled out the papers. I had to leave Wednesday.
Oh, wow, that was quick.
Yeah, that was quick. And so I came back and told everybody I had to go down to Georgia visit my daddy before I left. Because, I'm going in the military. You don't know if you're coming back or not,
Mm-hmm.
So that's, it just hit me just like that, because I didn't really pay no attention to those draft papers. And the draft paper was blank for as I can remember.
So,
I think they tricked me.
Okay. So why did you choose the career field telecommunications?
I didn't choose that. They chose that for me.
Oh.
Because when I took my test in Cincinnati that morning, we left Dayton, went to Cincinnati, from the park down there in the Federal Building, where we got our shots. That's where we took the test and all of this and that. And when I first took my test, I didn't want to go to the military. I had just went down the thing and marked X's everywhere. So they came and got me, and told me, put me in the room and told me, he said, first of all, he said, you're going to the military. He said, I don't care what you do when you get there. He said, I don't care if you shiver me, no. He said, you're going in the military. He said, what I'm saying to you is we're going to give you a chance to take this test again, and that you should do the best that you can do so you can be the best that you can be, which made sense to me, you know.
Uh-huh.
It made sense to me. So I went back and took the test again. Then they come out and tell me I'm in telephone communication. I'm like, y'all must have the wrong guy. Because I never had no idea that I could do nothing like that, you know. My confidence wasn't too high at that point, you know.
It's all aptitude.
And I went on and became one of the best telephone communications people that they had, of course.
They're not testing your knowledge; they're testing your aptitude, and obviously they did a good job with giving you the right job. So
yeah, and I loved that job.
Terrific.
Yeah, I loved it.
Now,
And people always thought that I went to college to learn how to do that. You know,
but you learned it through your service.
On the job training.
They give you the training for it. So
yeah.
Tell us about some of your base experiences as far as deployment experience.
Deployment, well, let me see. I first went to Stuttgart, Germany. It was called 7th Army. And 7th Army was a unit that had everything. It had I don't know how many brigades. It had 2 or 3 brigades. And they have everything. Infantry, telephone, tanks, everything. And we had initially fought in 1940, 7th Army, my 97th Signal Battalion. But they was relieved, and they still on train. They just train it and be ready.
Right. Well, that was the Cold War era, so it was still maintaining a presence there.
Yeah. And so we was in Stuttgart for 9 months, but just training. We just do telephone communications and field wire in the woods, like field trips. We did a lot of field training. And then we go down to Mannheim and Darmstadt journey and do the same thing like that. And otherwise, all we do is go down to the motor pool every day and clean the vehicles. You know.
So was that your most memorable experience in the military? Your most memorable tour of duty? Or, I mean, I'm assuming that there's lots of memories of pretzels and beer and in good times there in Germany, but was that your most memorable?
The field trip that we had, I had telling you that Emmett had seen me, was a pretty big day. That day, my sergeant they wanted somebody to play the drums. And my sergeant, he didn't know much about music and everything. He had heard something about me being involved with music, and he told him, he volunteered me.
Oh. Could you play the drums?
No, especially back then. But that day,
was it playing drums for the Army band there? Or?
No, we're just marching that day, and I was just playing the drums for the marches. It wasn't no band; it was just me. That I played the drums, and we was marching in a little field trip that we had that day.
Okay.
So the snare drum.
Yeah.
Okay, as opposed to the bass drum.
Yeah,
it's just boom,
it's snare.
Boom.
And I come down and do that day, man. I thought I was, I thought I was doing it. I was, and I thought I was doing it. I think my sergeant might have thought I was doing pretty good too. Then somebody came in the door and said, "What the heck was that?" And then that's when it all came out. I wasn't playing what I should have been playing. I wasn't playing the military thing, so.
Now, you had mentioned that you were doing your field trip and you met, and that was Emmett North Jr., right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you play with him also? Wow.
No, Emmett and I was in the same gospel group, not at the same time, because Emmett was in the gospel group before I was. Because I came after Emmett and all those other guys. But he was in the same gospel group, and we kind of grew up together, and we was in the military at the same time. We was in California at the same time, and we was always near each other.
Now, did you play with him as far as in the military? Because I know that was one of the things when we had him on here that he was talking about. Sometimes he would play for some of the officers for some of their events.
I mostly just played talent shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a band.
So why not play in the Army's band?
That would have been really good if I had thought of that. If I had thought of that, that would have really been great. But I never thought of playing in the Army band.
Oh, okay. All right.
I wasn't that advanced, I would imagine, to play in the Army band.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now, Hollis, is we're going to go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about your experiences as far as with the Dayton VA.
I was in the military. I didn't know that when I left, I was eligible for health care through the VA. I thought you had to be disabled or have been wounded. Another vet told me I should check it out. Now, I have the care I need at the Dayton VA.
Don't wait another day to see how the VA may help you.
I'm a vet, and it's my VA. Make it your VA today.
Call 937-268-6511, extension 2159 to enroll, or visit dayton.va.gov.
Our veterans put everything on the line to protect our freedom. We may never be able to repay them for their sacrifice, but we can show them just how much we appreciate all they've done. Every day, hundreds of people just like you volunteer to help our veterans. You can help by simply sharing your time, lending a warm smile, a supportive hand, or a sympathetic ear to someone who needs it. Everyone can do something to make our veterans know how much we appreciate their service. What will you do?
And we're back. We're back with Hollis Melson, Army veteran. Now, Hollis, before we went to break, you were telling us about your adventures as far as in the military, being all that you can be as a telecommunications specialist. Now, after your tour of duty, what happened?
Well, we got out of the military. It was on Friday. It was in New York where I got discharged. What's the name of that place? Fort Hamilton? I believe it was Fort Hamilton. They just give you your ticket and bye. They don't tell you where to train. They don't tell you nothing,
That's
I
right.
guess they said they had trained you, you should be able to take it from here.
That's right.
And so
They've made you a man of the world, so you should find your way in it, right?
you can find it. They just gave me my day. I was on my own. So I ended up, caught the plane and came back to Dayton. And my brother was in an organization called a Youth Patrol, where they train people to get jobs and all this kind of stuff. And so my brother, he talked about me all the time. Well, my brother Hollis, he in the military, he do this and he do that and he do that. He do this. And so they had me lined up to go to work for the telephone company. As soon as I got home, I didn't even have to put in no application. I came home and they told me I came on Friday. They told me I was going to work for the telephone company on Monday.
Oh.
I was so mad because I wanted to have a break. I hadn't had no break in years and years and years. And so I went to work on Monday, and I think I got back with the Majestics about the week or so after that, as soon as I got back. Playing with the Majestics again and got a job, so I was doing two things at once, just like...
Have you had a vacation since?
Oh yeah, I was
A couple here and there.
I was unemployed. I was unemployed for 20 years.
Oh, well, that's a vacation, all right. But
So-
you started working for the telephone company right
Yeah,
away.
I worked for a telephone company, and that was great. I loved that. Started alignment and worked telephone installation and repair for 5 years, and then that's when the proposal came about that we was gonna go 100% music full time, or we're gonna work. So everybody decided we're gonna go to music, and everybody quit their jobs. And that was the end of the Majestics at that point.
Okay.
And we couldn't change it to the overnight low because somebody had told us that R&B music was not selling anymore like it had once had back in the day of Motown. Now we're in the days of the Three Dog Night and Blood, Sweat, and Tears and all these groups like this that's selling out everywhere.
Now,
Yeah.
around what year
That would have
was
been
this?
73. It was going on in 72, early 70s, through that period. And so we changed the name from the Majestics to the Overnight Low. And then we started playing that type of music. And that was 73 and 74. Things was going good. We thought, I mean, the music was going good. The money wasn't going good. And at the end of 1974, everybody was frustrated and kind of disappointed with things that had happened. And everybody left and said it was over.
Oh,
And the guy said, he was going to put the group back together. You know, he said, the group is going to get back together. And so that in 75, he got Roger Troutman and Lester Troutman, went out here to Cincinnati and put some tracks on with Roger and Lester that was slamming. You know, and when I heard it, it just, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be a part of that.
So what kind of genre was it transitioning into?
I don't know if it's funk. It was funk rock or it was rock jazz mixture. As far as I was concerned,
Sure.
it was rock jazz mixture.
but it was something new.
Yeah, it was
That-
something new, and and people loved it. People loved it because I remember, you know, when I was in Hollywood playing out there with Boosie Collins and them and everything, and they was doing all that funk and everything, and I was doing that, and they were there, you know. Well, I did it, you know, and they was loving it, and I had a good time doing it.
Now, as the music begins to fade, you had quit your job after coming from the military. Your military provided you with skills so that way you're able, in between gigs, you can support yourself, right?
Right. Right.
So what happens when the music kind of slows down? What starts to happen?
Oh man, I was doing odd jobs galore. I was doing odd jobs galore, man. I was painting houses and cutting grass. Because I always used to tell him, this guy, his name is, I used to cut grass with him. And I used to make $25, $30 or more cutting grass. You know, and I used to make $25, $30 cutting grass, you know, playing music. It wasn't making no money out or whatever, you know. But basically unemployed for a minute there, you know, and somebody told me one day that I need to pay into Social Security and retirement, that the rate that I was going, it was going to be a bad situation, and I decided that's what I needed to do. And then at that rate, I started driving the bus, RTA bus driver. I'm a retired RTA bus driver, you know. And at that point, I wouldn't play no music because I couldn't see driving the bus and playing music at the same time.
Well,
you know,
that would be hard.
Yeah. So I'm doing what's paying the bills, and that was driving the bus. And it was when I got near retirement. I started, you know, I had to have something to do. And then all of this Dayton funk stuff came out.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I can go and try to promote that and help promote that, since I was the one that did it, and that's kind of my legacy,
Right. So, you had a great career with the RTA and fantastic career in the music industry. But tell us, what led you to the Dayton VA?
Led me to the Dayton VA. At the time, I didn't have nowhere else to go. I didn't have no insurance from the company or whatever. And so that was my only option for medical.
Right. So being unemployed kind of made that opportunity available to you, or made you aware that that's where you could get your health care. Was there anything that happened that you said, oh man, I didn't even know that was there for me? Or did you wait that long to go to the VA for health care?
Well, no, I literally went to the VA immediately because of what had happened when I got out of the military. And the same thing happened to me when I went in the military. Those boots had my feet, the bottom of my foot was so sore that I couldn't walk from those boots.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened when I was those lineman boots that I was wearing. And my foot so I went to the VA because I had insurance with the telephone company then, but I don't know why I went to the VA, but I chose to go to the VA, and that's where I went, and I always went to the VA. Right.
Well, those combat boots don't come with Dr. Scholl's lining, so they're known for sort of causing some issues. But that's why I was asking. It's like, okay, so that you had some issues from your military service that brought you to the VA right after you left the military.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience with the VA ever since then.
Well, I've had good experience with the VA.
So it's good to have the VA plus your regular insurance. So
sure.
So in some cases, because people may not know that you can still have your outside provider and at the same time utilize the VA as well. So overall, if you were telling another veteran out there who may not have health insurance in place right now, serve their country, what would you tell them as far as why they should use the VA?
They have some of the best doctors in the world, as far as I know. They got good service. In the last couple of years, things have gotten much better. And I'm guessing they can take care of any problem medical that you got, because they have so many people that they have to deal with, and that they should be experienced all around on everything, because many veterans with the many problems, that pretty much covers everything. So,
absolutely, and and we agree 100%. And we want to also just take a couple seconds here to say thank you, Hollis, for coming in today. You've been a great sport here, sharing your stories and all your experiences. And just want to say one more time, thanks again for coming in and sharing your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for your service, sir.
With the signing of the PACT Act, VA now has a huge list of presumptive conditions attributed to burn pits or other toxins. They also have a new extensive list of locations where they presume these exposures occurred. With regard to presumptive conditions, the list includes brain cancer, gastrointestinal cancer of any type, glioblastoma, head cancer of any type, kidney cancer, lymphatic cancer of any type, lymphoma of any type, melanoma, neck cancer, pancreatic cancer, reproductive cancer of any type, and respiratory cancer of any type. Illnesses that are now presumptive include asthma that was diagnosed after service, chronic bronchitis, COPD, chronic rhinitis, chronic sinusitis, constrictive bronchiolitis or obliterative bronchiolitis, emphysema, granulomatous disease, ILD, pleuritis, pulmonary fibrosis, and sarcoidosis. Locations for presumptive exposure on or after August 2nd, 1990 include Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, UAE, and the airspace above any of these locations. To find out more information about how the PACT Act affects you and your VA benefits, you can also visit VA's comprehensive website about the PACT Act by visiting va.gov/PACT, where you'll also be able to apply for VA healthcare or apply for or submit a supplemental claim for VA disability. Or you can always call VA's information hotline 24/7 at 1-800-698-2411.
We want to say thanks again to our special guests for taking time today to share their story. We truly enjoy hearing stories from veterans from across the region and learning more about how they found care through the Dayton VA Medical Center. And as always, we want to thank our listeners for joining us and remind them, if they are a veteran and are not enrolled, to enroll with the Veterans Health Administration to receive health care benefits through the Dayton VA Medical Center. It's easy and it doesn't cost a thing. You just need to be a veteran. The simplest way to start enrollment is to call our Enrollment and Eligibility Office at 937-268-6511, extension 4105. They can schedule an appointment for you to come to the Dayton campus or help make an appointment at one of the surrounding community-based outpatient clinics located at Springfield, Richmond, Lima, and Middletown. Again, that number is 937-268-6511, extension 4105. Veterans may also enroll by visiting www.choose.va.gov/health. While there, you can choose from applying online or by phone or by mail. It's just that simple, really. As I said before, it doesn't cost a thing to apply. So what are you waiting for? Call us today. Or if you know of a veteran who is not enrolled, have them call to start taking advantage of this benefit. If you're a veteran, it's your VA. Sign up today. Join us again for another episode of MyVA Dayton with the Dayton VA Medical Center. Our episodes drop the 1st and 15th of each month. I'm Scott Leese with your co-host Greg Tucker. Thanks again for listening to MyVA Dayton.